If you have a central vacuum system in your home, congratulations. There is no finer way to keep your home clean and healthy. The maintenance on these systems is simple and only needs to be done periodically, but will vary from brand to brand and style to style. I don't have an example of every brand here. I would need a much bigger garage for that. But this is basically every style you are likely to have in your home. Starting from left to right, first we have cyclonic units that have no bag, and they say no filter either, but there is a screen that we'll talk about. On the right here are bagless systems with a permanent cloth filter. And down here, this Dirt Devil unit is a bagless system with a removable cartridge filter. Then up here, these two Newtone units are bottom emptying disposable bag units. This red Newtone is also known as a hybrid unit, and we'll talk about that too. On the bottom here are top emptying disposable bag units. Going back here, let's start with the cyclonic unit. To empty it, unsnap the bucket and make sure it's emptied before it gets over half full. Then look up inside the unit and find the guard screen. There it is. Clean that off. Keep it clean. The more often you clean it, ideally every time you empty the bucket, the easier it will be to clean. Waiting to clean this until the system performance is reduced will result in it being more difficult to clean. The best way I've found to clean this is to get a toilet brush. Make it the vacuum toilet brush. Don't use it anywhere else. Stick that up inside this machine and clean that screen off, and then reinstall the bucket. Other cyclonic units are made by Vacu-Flow, and the maintenance is very similar. This cyclonic unit is in two pieces. It's also a Vacu-Maid. It has the motor pod up above, and down below is where the dirt goes. This part is called the separator. To empty it, as before, first unsnap the latches, empty the dirt out. To clean the screen, all you do is take the lid off the top. Here's the screen. The dirt is on the top of the screen, and you simply wipe it off like cleaning the lint filter on your clothes dryer. Some newer Vacu-Maid machines have a pad filter or a mesh screen that's on here, which can be removed for easier cleaning. But the older ones, you just scrape the screen off by hand. You don't remove it. Set the lid back on, reinstall the bucket, and you're up and running again. Permanent cloth filter systems. If you unsnap the latches, you will find a cloth bag filter, probably covered in dirt, and the bucket where the dirt goes. This is emptied ideally before the machine is 3/4 full. And this filter, the best way to clean it is to take another vacuum and a gentle brush attachment and brush that filter off, vacuuming the dirt off of it. Or take a garbage bag, wrap the rim of the garbage bag around the rim of the machine, and from the outside of the bag, reach in and shake that filter so that the dirt falls into the bag. Then you can empty this bucket into the bag and reinstall. Here's a Brone, same concept. The dirt's in there, and there's your cloth filter. It is not necessary to get this filter completely perfectly clean. The system will work well as long as it doesn't have a cake of dust built up on it. Here's a beam. This is the most common manufacturer of these inverted cloth filter systems. And on this model, you simply untwist the bucket and the filter is inside. Reinstall the bucket. It doesn't need to be tight in there. It just needs to be held so that it's not going to fall off the machine. The tighter you wedge it in there, the harder it is to get it off next time. This one's a little different. It still has a bucket on the bottom, but taking the bucket off, first you will see a cone, and looking inside, here's a cartridge filter. It's like a shop vac or some swimming pools. On this one, there's a little latch and the filter drops down for cleaning or replacement. Again, it is not necessary to get this filter spotlessly clean. I don't recommend washing it. You can either gently brush it or just tap it against a hard surface to get the cake of dust out of the pleats of the filter. This can be cleaned a few times and reused. I would clean it each time you empty the canister, but have a replacement filter on hand for when this filter is beyond easy cleaning. To reinstall, we're just going to go up and reattach that snap latch. Bucket goes back on. You're done. Now moving on to these. These are both made by Newtone. They're about 20 years different in age. Starting with the older one, more common one. Unsnapping this bucket, you'll find a disposable bag inside that you remove by gripping the cardboard collar, pulling off, throwing away, and replacing when the bag is about 3/4 full. This filter is a secondary filter. It's there to protect the machine in case this disposable bag rips or comes off. It is not designed to be the primary filter of the machine, so this unit must have a bag installed at all times. Take the new bag and push it past the barbs that hold the bag on. Give it a little tug to make sure it's not going to come off. Then reinstall the bucket. On this machine, if you take the bucket off, you'll find a very similar setup with the cardboard collar attached to a little tube in there. But if you notice, the secondary filter is bigger. It's more like a bag, and it has a bean bag weight sewn into it, just like the one on these machines. This is what's known as a hybrid unit because it can be used with or without the disposable bag. If you use it without the disposable bag, all you have to do is empty this bucket when it's 3/4 full. But on any machine that can accept a disposable bag, I recommend using the disposable bag. Not only does it keep you cleaner when you're emptying it, it keeps your suction power stronger for longer, and it protects the motor inside your machine from premature failure. Now on to the last style, top emptying disposable bag units. This one is made by Filtex. It's a common style from the 70s, 80s, and 90s. To empty it, first unsnap these latches, then remove the lid. Inside, you'll find a disposable bag with a cardboard collar. Just remove that, throw it away. The disposable bag is supported by a permanent cloth bag. Normally this doesn't get dirty, it doesn't need to be cleaned, and it is good for the life of the machine. But if you notice that it's a little dusty, just take it outside and shake it. I wouldn't wash it. Down below, you will find a final filter that protects the motors. In this case, it's just a screen. It may be a pad or a flocked wire mesh of some kind. Just make sure that's clean. Cloth bag, paper bag, and before you put the lid back on, check and make sure there's no long objects caught inside this tube, and then reinstall the lid, aligning the tube connection first, and then snapping the latches. This machine is not a common brand, but it is a common style. Thoromatics were really only sold in the Chicago area in the 80s and 90s, but this style is most commonly known as MD, Airflow, or Silent Master, and the maintenance is all the same. Take the lid off, and hopefully you will see a little tab here which allows you to take out the bag, which is a permanent cloth bag as the Filtex machine has, and a disposable liner. Remove the liner, take this out, throw it away. Again, this bag should be good for the life of the machine. It should stay clean. And check the filters underneath for any buildup also. Reinsert the bag. And hold up the tab to make it easier to get it out next time. Set it into the machine. It sits on this groove. Open the bag up. Some models have a gasket, a rubber gasket that fits around here, so reinstall that if you have it. Then put the lid on. And you're done. For any other questions about any central vacuum, you can contact me at justcentralvacs@gmail.com. Thank you for watching.